One thing I want to call out that a lot of our customers like is the ability to configure how much or how frequently you want to ingest data from HubSpot into RudderStack before we forward it into Snowflake.
Welcome to Powered by Snowflake, a series where I interview technology leaders building applications and businesses on Snowflake. I'm your host, Daniel Myers, and today I'm talking with Lewis Mbae, Head of Customer Engineering at RudderStack. RudderStack turns Snowflake into a customer data platform. Lewis, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Daniel.
So tell me more about how exactly did you get involved with RudderStack? And in your own words, what exactly does RudderStack do?
Great. So I lead the customer engineering team at RudderStack, where we're responsible for being the trusted technical advisor for our customers throughout their journey in the platform. And prior to that, I was a sales engineering director at a web performance and security company called Fastly. Had a great time there, but after 7 years, decided it was time for me to move on, and hence why I'm at RudderStack today. And in terms of how we enable our customers, at RudderStack today, we believe that a lot of businesses are trying to make their data cloud be the central source of truth for their customer data. And so we help them build the pipelines to realize that vision. We empower them to be able to capture their data, send it to their data cloud, and do interesting use cases like personalization, churn prediction, lead scoring, and so on.
So it seems like really, a customer data platform is a pretty critical piece of the puzzle for really activating customers for any business.
It is. And for us, the way we see it today is that a business starts off with simple tooling, say your Salesforce and your marketing tool to enable your sales and marketing teams, obviously, to be more efficient in the market, to be able to do their responsibilities well. And as you grow as a business, you slowly realize that you're adding more tooling, and then a need for a data cloud comes into place, a data cloud like Snowflake Data Cloud to help you to capture that data, and then a platform like RudderStack that allows you to actually get that data into Snowflake and out of Snowflake for activation.
I love that. And so tell me more about how exactly RudderStack was founded and, tell me about its founders.
So RudderStack was founded by Sumit Mitra, who's our CEO back in 2019. His insight into starting this company was that he faced a lot of challenges at his previous company trying to build an enterprise-grade customer data platform. And so going through the marketplace and trying to find a solution that could meet his need, he realized that there's nothing that could provide that. He also had the insight to realize that there's a lot of other data engineers that were going through his pain. And so that's why he founded RudderStack. Another key insight that he had was that the data engineer was a critical persona in unlocking the value of a platform like this to other teams, your sales teams, your marketing teams, to allow them to achieve their business goals. And so that's why today RudderStack is built with the data engineer in mind. It's built for that particular function as a persona that we want to target and we want to empower in all what they do from a day-to-day standpoint.
So that's great. I always think that the best companies are ones where, the founding team have experienced the exact problem that they are solving. It shows that there's a need for it, right? So that's really cool to see. Tell me more about where RudderStack currently is in the journey of your company. I see that you hit Series B funding. Tell me more about that and kind of where you're going from here.
You're right. In fact, we raised our Series B of $56 million earlier this year, which was a great validation from our investors, allows us to grow and keep investing on our product to get our customers to where they need to be. But our future is bright. We're really excited about that. And that's premised on the fact that we believe all businesses are on a data maturity journey. And that journey starts off with simple tooling in marketing, sales, and product. So business units like that, where they want to drive and capture insights into what's happening. And then slowly you build a complex array of these tools and the amount of data that you have explodes. And so you need a data cloud like Snowflake to capture that data. And then you need a platform like RudderStack to help you get data from client side, server side, data from all the different tools that you use and funnel that into your Snowflake. And then eventually that turns into a need to build out a customer 360 where you have a full view of everything that your customer is doing. And then you have a need to activate that and figure out how you can send that data to downstream tools in order to drive things like churn prediction, lead scoring, personalization, and RudderStack is there to help you with that particular aspect.
So I really love how you mentioned, the term that you used there, the data maturity journey. I think that really positions the idea of how businesses are on this journey of realizing and extracting the value from the data that they have. I think that's really important to understand, and I think really brings out the unison between Snowflake and RudderStack. So from here, I really want to see a demo of the RudderStack solution and more precisely kind of where Snowflake fits into the greater picture.
Let's do it.
Cool.
So before I jump into the actual demo, I'd like to walk you through a high-level overview of our architecture. Call out the 3 core pipelines that RudderStack provides. First, we have our event stream pipeline in yellow that allows you to capture events out of your client, so your web app, mobile app, server side, and stream that into Snowflake. We also stream that into a whole set of different cloud tools, as you can see to the right. And third, once you have your user interactions captured with our event stream pipeline, and then combine that with events that you're capturing from your cloud tools into Snowflake, you can carve that out into interesting audiences and cohorts, and then use this third pipeline in Magenta, we call that reverse ETL, to send that data for activation back into your cloud tools. And lastly, we'll touch on transformations, which are a programmatic way to inspect and modify events as they flow through RudderStack and do really cool things around PII masking, schema enforcement, and so on.
This is a pretty powerful architecture. I really like how you're able to capture a pretty complete picture of what's happening, and Snowflake is a core part of that. That's pretty cool to see.
Awesome. And now we're going to jump into the actual dashboard. Now, this is RudderStack's configuration dashboard that allows you to manage all the different pipelines that you have on our platform. And you can see here we have them all configured, the 3 pipelines that I mentioned earlier. But before we jump into them, I'd like to highlight the fact that we support a whole set of different sources and destinations. So you can come in here and whatever tooling that you have in your setup, you can come in here, find the tool that you want to pull data from and forward data to, and set that up on our platform. What this means is you only need to instrument once at your source. And then as your tooling expands, you can come in here and let RudderStack enable that and support all the connections, all the retry logic that needs to happen and make sure those events are reliably sent to your destination.
That makes it pretty easy.
Now, jumping back to our pipelines, first is our event stream pipeline that captures events from a JavaScript source. So imagine your web app where we instrument our JavaScript SDK and forwards that into your Snowflake destination. Second, we have a HubSpot source. HubSpot's our CRM in this case, and we want to send those events into Snowflake as well, so we can join them with the behavioral data that we're capturing from our web app and do some interesting use cases out of that. And last but not least is our reverse ETL pipeline that allows you to pull data out of Snowflake for activation in Braze, where we can now engage with our customers. Now, as you can see, on all these different sources, we have a unique write key that allows you to configure that in the SDK that's set up at the source so that we can properly route those events into the proper pipeline before we forward those into the destination. No need to be worried about these particular write keys. I'll wipe them off as soon as we're done with the demo. So nothing to be concerned about from an exposure standpoint. Now I'll go ahead and jump into our first pipeline, which is the event stream pipeline. One thing I want to highlight here is the ability to view events in real time as they come in from the source. So as a data engineer, I want to be able to come in and see that I'm actually capturing the right events with the right properties and be able to go back and debug if something's not right. So over here, I'm able to drill down into the actual payload coming in from my web application. And if anything's wrong, I can go back and do the proper instrumentation to make sure I'm passing the right properties, the right attributes onto my destination.
I love being able to see the live events coming in. That makes it easy for debugging, like you said. Where else, in terms of the monitoring and other enhancements, can the RudderStack platform do?
Let me jump into the Snowflake Destination so we can take a look at some cool capabilities that RudderStack provides. So jump into configuration, go ahead and try to edit that. Now, we write data into your Snowflake data cloud in batch. So you can come in here and configure how frequently you want RudderStack to write that data into your Snowflake data cloud. And the reason for this capability here, or this optionality, is you might have a use case that requires you to action on the data in a matter of minutes versus an hour versus a day. And we enable you to configure this. So our customers really find this to be powerful for them. And a natural thing that might come up is, well, if RudderStack batches this data and we claim to be privacy first, how does RudderStack store that data? Well, we give you the option of storing that batch data yourself. So you can come in here and select an object storage of your choice. So AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure, and have us batch that data to those object storage platforms and then forward that into Snowflake at the configured sync periods. Or you can have us store that batch data on your behalf. So we give you this optionality. So if you're a privacy conscious business, then you can store that batch data yourself. If you're not, then RudderStack can do it on your behalf and make life easier for you.
That's a pretty powerful feature. Tell me more about kind of the monitoring capabilities and some of the enhancements that you do to the data.
Absolutely. Now that we're done with the event stream pipeline, I'd like to touch on our ETL pipeline, which allows you to capture events from your cloud tools into your Snowflake data cloud. In this case, we're doing HubSpot because that's our CRM. Now diving in, one thing I want to call out that a lot of our customers like is the ability to configure how much or how frequently you want to ingest data from HubSpot into RudderStack before we forward it into Snowflake. And we give you that configurability in terms of making it basic, so you can come in and configure how frequently you want to pull that data from HubSpot, and then we stage it before we forward it to Snowflake, or you can do a cron expression, or you can come in here and do it manually. So jump into a UI and actually specify, hey, I want to do a sync right now, and we'll capture all the data that we've accumulated from HubSpot and forward that into Snowflake. So a lot of customers find this attractive because we can now treat their cloud tools as if they were event sources and then forward that into their data cloud.
That's pretty powerful to see, especially as more and more companies are moving to the cloud, more and more cloud tools exist, meaning there's more and more data to ingest.
Now that we've captured events from user interactions on our website, mobile app, and IoTs, and combine that with data from the different cloud tools that we have today, we want to be able to now carve out different audiences, cohorts, and activate that data back into different cloud tools so we can perform business actions like churn prediction or personalization or send out text messages to our customers who we think are loyal to us and will have a higher likelihood of making a purchase out of an email that they're going to receive. And so to enable that, we have what we call our reverse ETL pipeline that allows you to pull that data out of Snowflake and then forward into your different cloud tools. So one thing I want to call out is how easy it is for you to configure the tables that you want to pull out of Snowflake to send to your downstream tools, in this case, Braze. So when you come in here to set that up, the schema and the table you want to pull from Snowflake is pre-populated for you, so you can come in and from a drop-down list, pick the tables that you want to sync into Braze. And then in terms of figuring out what table you want to write to Braze, that's also pre-populated for you, so you can come in from a drop-down and figure out what you want to send. So really easy, instead of you having to look at your Braze setup and mapping those into RudderStack, you can just come in here and we basically make a call to Snowflake, make a call to Braze, and then pre-populate this section. Now, from an efficiency standpoint, when we do a sync into your downstream tools from Snowflake, we focus on new and updated records. And that makes things very, very quick and efficient. Now, at the bottom here is our visual data mapper that allows you to specify the columns in Snowflake that you want to map to your downstream tools. Now, in this case, I can come in and say, I want the email column to be mapped into my external ID in Braze and make that be the identifying attribute on the destination side. And then I can come in and call out other columns in Snowflake and specify how I'd like to have those mapped into Braze so that there's a consistency in the mapping of data.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, and I'm always a big fan of having things visual like this. It just makes it easier to have that mental picture of what exactly is going on. So I love seeing this.
Awesome. Last but not least, I'd like to touch on transformations. You can think of these as a programmatic way to inspect events as they flow through RudderStack and modify them or take some action on that. The one I'm going to show today is around masking PII, which is a common transformation, especially with some of our customers in the healthcare and financial services space that care about filtering PII as it flows through their data stack. So jumping right in. So these transformations can be written in JavaScript today, and in the future, we'll be supporting more languages. Now, the way we're taking an event into a transformation is as a JSON object. So I can inspect that whole JSON object, filter out, mask, rewrite fields in that JSON object. And in this particular example, what I'm doing is I'm walking through the entire JSON object and finding any place where a social security number is called out that matches these three strings, and then replace that with this mask that you can see here. And through that, I can go ahead and say any data that runs through RudderStack will be masked, all the PII will be masked, and so it lands into downstream tools, no one's social security number will be exposed.
That's pretty powerful. Yeah. And I think, one, the use case of masking PII information always comes up. I have conversations all the time about how companies should be handling their PII information. And I think having transformations like this so easily definable and a mechanism like this is pretty key. What other transformation examples have you seen some of your customers utilize RudderStack for?
That's a very good question. So we have customers doing things like schema enforcement. So if I want to make sure that all the events that I capture from my different sources have certain attributes called out and in a specific format or data type, you can use a transformation to enforce that. Another really cool thing you could do with transformations is make external calls to any HTTP endpoint. So I can say, I have an IP address coming in, I can make a call out to the world to some GeoIP database, and that will return a whole set of details around that IP that will tell me maybe the city, the location of that user, and that might enable me to better service that user based on their location. So really cool stuff that you could do there in terms of going beyond just being a router of events. We can go ahead and do enrichment from within a transformation.
So this has been a pretty cool demo to see, and it's really apparent how RudderStack is able to leverage the data that your customers have in Snowflake and make it even more valuable by connecting these data providers and downstream consumers. So tell me more about how and why did RudderStack choose Snowflake to build this platform on?
Snowflake was an easy choice for us, and that's because we believe, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of businesses are on a journey to making their warehouse the central source of truth. Snowflake brings to the table these industry-leading qualities around speed of data ingestion, speed of running queries, being able to scale to the data and compute needs of a business that makes a lot of us really, really excited, especially our customers, as we see them continue to grow and grow in adding these sources and destinations in the form of Snowflake.
So tell me more about kind of some of the key features. You mentioned the capabilities of Snowflake is one of the reasons why you chose Snowflake. What are some of the main features that you use today? I know, I would assume Snowflake's data sharing capability is probably pretty key to the RudderStack solution.
That's huge. In fact, we believe, and a lot of people believe, that the more context you apply to data, the more useful it becomes. And so our customers are able to use Snowflake's data sharing capability to pull other third-party data for enrichment. And so they can carve out that data, build audiences around it, and then activate it into things like personalization, churn prediction, understanding user journeys, and a whole set of other use cases that just blow our mind. We're able to see what our customers are doing, and we just go, hey, how do we help you do that? How can we see you do more of that? And that's what makes us really bullish and excited about the next 6 months, next year. As I mentioned earlier, this data maturity journey, and we feel that once you have your warehouse as your customer 360, you're able to do a lot of interesting things around engaging with your customers more, engaging with within your business more. And I think RudderStack is a key part of that journey. And we want to make sure that we have our eye on the ball in delivering the solutions and the capabilities that our customers want to realize our vision.
That is really exciting. So you mentioned, 6 months, 1 year, right? what are some of the big things, big ideas that your customers should be looking forward to for the RudderStack roadmap?
Yeah, great question. So obviously adding more sources, adding more destinations is a whole bunch of tools that are coming out today, and we want to make sure that we support that. But we also want to make sure that we support the latest and greatest capabilities in terms of data governance, in terms of data residency, in terms of observability, making sure that the data engineer is comfortable in our platform. They have all the tools, the quality of life tools that they need to be efficient. And that's things like being able to test what they're doing, being able to do version control, being able to do all the things that they need to do in order to get things up quickly. As I mentioned earlier, we believe the data engineer is a person that's going to unlock value of a platform like ours to other business units like marketing and sales and product. And so we want to make them comfortable with our product so that they can use it to their wish and we can deliver the value that they've been looking for.
So if a data engineer, if somebody watching right now wants to learn more, where should they go?
Email works best for me. That's lewis@rudderstack.com, LEWIS@rudderstack.com, or you can visit us online at www.rudderstack.com. Come check out some of the cool use cases we have with our customers. You can sign up for a free account, test things out, or you can ask for a live demo, and we'll be able to dive much deeper than I did today.
So Lewis, I want to say thank you for joining me here today in the studio. It's been great having you and talking all about RudderStack.
It's been a blast. Thank you, Daniel.
And for everybody watching, my name is Daniel Myers, and this has been another episode of Powered by Snowflake.